Throughout the bye week, we talked a ton about preparation. We talked a lot about um, changing one thing that I think the guys could do on Sundays or Mondays leading into the next week. Whether or not that helped them or didn't help them, it showed on the field. I really liked how we adjusted a few things leading up to the game amongst our players. If I think as coaches and as players, if you're not getting the result you want, you have to look into, why is the result you're getting? Why are you getting a negative result? And I knew, like, throughout the course of the year, at times, whether or not we were scoring touchdowns or kicking field goals or not scoring in the first quarter or early in the game, I knew that was something that we had to address. So during the bye week, we looked at, okay, why is that happening? We talked about it with our players. They talked about it amongst themselves, and then with their own selves internally, and then they fixed the issue. And I hope that we can continue to do that this week and start fast. That's a benchmark that we want to achieve each week by starting fast. And it showed on Saturday, which I was really excited about. It's everything because it gives me the confidence to call any play. It gives me the confidence to be able to go from a run to a pass in a double call, in a double huddle call, pass to run or run to run or pass to pass. That's the processing before the snap is what separates him from other people. Um, I've always talked about the preparation he has, but when he breaks the huddle, from the time he breaks the huddle to the time the ball snapped, he's elite. And then the one thing that also separates him is once the ball snapped, he then can process what's going on. So he has a pre-snap picture, takes it into the post-snap picture, which allows him to be able to throw on time, be able to throw on schedule. That's what I think makes it nice because you can utilize the entire playbook. You can utilize every area of the field by attacking. Okay, he can start over here to the left and he can end up with a check down to the right. That's what I think is extremely elite about him. It all starts with, like I said, the preparation, and then it leads to, hopefully a positive result at the end of the day on Saturday. And that's what I love. That's what I just love about him. Just the way he can handle breaking the huddle to the end of the play and how efficient he is. Okay, so I think one of the biggest things, whether it's in Max's case of a transfer or a high school student athlete, I think the one misconception is you just look at the huddle tape, and you have to first see, okay, you see the highlights, and you see, okay, the flash throws, but the student athlete usually just puts the highlights or the flash throws or the flash plays on the huddle tape. So that's what catches your eye. Then you have to go back and you have to watch the game tape of what plays was the quarterback potentially doing that was putting the ball in harm's way. Was he taking a sack that he shouldn't have? Okay, then you look at how is he when you go to the game. You look at how is his leadership ability? How is he with his teammates? Then once you get him on campus, I think you have to be able to see how they interact with other people. We do an excellent job, I think, of recruiting particular student athletes by seeing how they interact with people around their school and then also how they interact with people on campus. That's one of the biggest things that we like to be able to see. And then obviously when you get into the whole process of it, you talk football with them and you see, okay, what are you thinking on this? What are you thinking on that? Whether it's any position, and how well they can process the information. Because, you can have a player that can move, super athletic, that can catch the ball, that can tackle. But if they can't key and diagnose, whether it's on offense or defense, they really can't play. And I think that's what you have to do. And that's the age-old question, too. That's the hardest part about recruiting and going into the portal, too, is figuring out, okay, which guys are those guys that when the ball snapped, are they going to be able to identify coverage? Are they going to be able to identify front? Are they going to be able to identify a movement? Anything like that. And I think that's a challenge. And with Max, we just did our homework. We did our research. I mean, I went all the way back to his high school coach at Centennial, and when he was a freshman, and just went through the whole thing of how he was then versus how he is now. Talked to his coaches at New Hampshire. I talked to the offensive coordinator at New Hampshire. We've become friends now through this whole process. The head coach at New Hampshire. We talk to other people that are close to him. It's just you have to dig deep and find out. Okay, how is that? How is he going to be able to handle? How is he going to be able to handle when things hit adversity? How is he going to be able to handle that? And everything checked the box with him. And so we knew once we got through spring ball and he got comfortable, got training camp, we knew he was going to be set up for success.
What have you seen from the development of Jameson Gears this season?
Excellent. Eric Kaler's done a fantastic job with him, developing that room. The way we use the tight end position, I think, is really fun, really cool for those guys. It's unique. We can split them out wide. We can attach them. We can put them in the backfield. We can do a lot of different things to create gaps with those guys in the run game. They have to be physical. That's the number one thing we always talk about as a tight end. They have to be able to block. But also we want to be able to have that skill set that Jameson has, that we can utilize them in the passing game. And I think that's where you're starting to see J-Mo really start to thrive a little bit. He's splitting out wide. He's doing different things. It's the way we want to be able to use that position. And I'm really excited about him. He has a great positive attitude through everything. I was with him in 22 when he was a redshirt freshman, and he still has that same drive and that same mindset that he's had since then. And obviously his individual goal is what it is, but he wants to be able to contribute to the team's success as much as possible, and that's what he's doing.
Now, deep into your second season as a play caller, how much have you felt the freedom kind of knowing the role as well, but also the creativity that Max talked about?
Yeah, I like the questions you ask. You ask me a lot of questions that you make me think. I think the one thing that I felt more comfortable with, as far as the play calling goes, is number one. I'm obviously very comfortable with Max, so I can do a lot of things pre-snap that plays to his strengths. And that's just the comfortability of the players getting better. I think we're a year older. I think we've replaced a lot of guys on the offense with a better version of themselves. You look at Daniel Jackson, he's a better player than he was a year ago. Elijah Spencer's obviously a better player than he was a year ago. And Darius, and the addition of Marcus, I think we've just surrounded Max with good players, and then we've developed the guys that were within the program into better versions of themselves. And that when you have good players out there playing, I have confidence that I'm able to call anything that I want. And I think that's been the biggest thing that has changed in my mindset. And then just obviously I think the impact that Max has had, and just saying, move on to the next play. Don't let that negative play beforehand screw up your mindset or mess with you at all. Just call the next one. We'll make it right. We talk about in our program, we talk about erasers, and Max is an eraser. Daniel Jackson is an eraser. Darius is an eraser. Like those guys, they can make the play right when it's not necessarily the perfect picture. So I think that's what is really, really cool about our offense right now, is that they're executing at a high level, and when things aren't the exact way that they want it, they're able to make it right.
The offense has gone from third worst on third down last year to now you guys are fourth best, 17th country this year. What do you attribute the success to?
Players, execution, the quarterback. I think we started the game, I think we're 3 for 3, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. We talked about on Sunday, we weren't what we wanted to be on first and second down. We were good. We weren't elite. But on third down, that's what won us the game. At the end of the day, like the third down efficiency and the conversion rate that we were at, I think we were 9 of 13 on third down. And the way that we were in a rhythm and the way we were completing passes, it was awesome to see. But that's what it was. And I think we do a good job as coaches. I think the guys within the offensive staff, whether it's working on our short yardage game plan all the way to third and long, I think we do an excellent job of creating a picture that the defense might not potentially be ready for, or maybe they have seen it. And then being able to use similar concepts or maybe a wrinkle that our guys are able to handle. That's been a huge addition too, is, we can add a play on a Tuesday afternoon and the guys are comfortable enough with it and experienced enough with it where they can go out and execute it. They can practice it today, and then they can go out and execute it on Saturday. I think that's a huge thing too. But it's a great compliment to the rest of the coaching staff of putting the players in positions to make plays, and then the players going out and doing it on Saturday.
Elijah's first touchdown, it was like Max's third progression. He said, "Tell me the opportunity that opens up for an offensive coordinator when you have a quarterback who can do that."
It's a green grass throw. That's what we talk about. The first progression in the read was Daniel. You saw he went in like a short motion, went across the center, and went back to the field. And that's Max's first read. The corner stayed with him. So when the corner stayed with him, he just progressed on. Jamison was the second guy in his progression, if you go back and watch it. And him and Lemecki kind of crossed paths, and it kind of got muddy right there. And as soon as Max recognized, here's the difference. Right when Max recognized that the picture was muddy between Lemecki and Jamison, he saw the grass. He didn't see Elijah. He saw the grass and threw it to the open grass. So it was whether or not the ball was going to be caught for a touchdown or it was going to be incomplete out of bounds. That's what it was. And that he's done that all the time. We talk about in the quarterback room all the time, where you have your most success and where you become an elite quarterback is on third down and in the green zone. And that's where he's been very, very efficient over the last however many games. But it's funny because on Sunday, talk about trust. I was talking to Elijah on Sunday, and Elijah, when the ball left Max's hands, Elijah said to himself internally, he's like, I don't know who this is to, but I'm going to stay on my path. And he just stayed right on his path because the way it was thrown, I mean, if you pause it, Elijah's on the opposite side of the center. And he caught the ball probably 4 to 5 yards outside the opposite right tackle. And so Elijah just trusted it. Max trusted it. And I think it was really cool to see that moment within our offense. They just trusted one another. And they had the same thing going towards the open end on a deep cross-country route where, again, if you pause the tape, Max releases and initiates the throw. And Elijah's probably on 5 to 7 yards on the opposite side of the Mike linebacker. And the ball's completed on the opposite, logo. And Elijah just kept running. They have a great relationship. They have since January. It's been cool to see just the development of Elijah, how he's worked under Coach Simon, and it's paying off. It's paying dividends for him.
Last question here for
They never rep that practice with him throwing that spot. Right?
Yeah, when you rep plays in practice, you more than likely think it's the first progression or the second progression. That's why the play's up. You complement the first and second read within a pass concept. You complement those 3 and 4 reads off of what could happen. You don't really rep it. They rep it on their own after practice. And in training camp we got to that throw, but not during the course of the week. We thought okay, we catch this particular coverage, Daniel could be open. We catch this, it could be JMO. And then Elijah's the third one. Same thing at UCLA. I don't think we didn't go all the way through our progression on that final touchdown pass with 27 seconds left. It's just Max just knows, boom, 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 just goes through the progression. He finds the right guy.
Corey got in there on offense for a play. What have you seen from him in practice?
Players over plays. He's a good player. So I think we always want to utilize our best players, put them in position to have success. You see when Coy has the ball in his hands, it can be electric at times. So I think it's fun that Coach Fleck gives us the opportunity to have that creativity and that freedom to be able to use Coy on offense if we choose. And he's been really cool. The offense has been really cool about it because they know what he can do with the football in his hands. Thanks.
I think that first fourth down stuff kind of set the tone for the rest of the game.
I thought that set the tone for basically the entire game. I thought that was, they came out 3rd and 1. They threw that slant. Wally makes a huge play. And then 4th and 1, that was kind of, we liked that call going into it. We'd kind of seen it on film. Our guys, I thought we executed that really well during the week. And we executed, I thought, Mav kind of ran through, set it. And Kerry did a great job coming downhill, finishing. We got the ball, kind of off track. We bubbled him a little bit, and he finished that play. But I thought that set really those first 5 drives and really set the whole game up for us.
Were you looking at the team going into the year, position group-wise? Where was safety for you as far as unknowns or concerns, and how have they kind of laid those?
I feel like it was, interesting for me. I watched the film from last year, but just with little differences and little details that are a little bit different how we did things in the past. Everything is kind of just, all right, evaluating who can cover, who can pressure, who can, communicate well, confidence, who finishes plays. And, that was a group that, you probably say wasn't as proven or didn't have the depth other units may have had on film or from last season. I thought those guys had a really good spring, though. And one thing we've done really all the way since pretty much back in like February is just putting guys in different meeting rooms, having guys do different things in indies or during winter workouts. And, in spring football, we did like a lot of circuits in coverage and pass rush and blitz. And, there's a lot of different things that those guys can do in that room. And it allows us to have so much more depth and, just continuing trying to play to the strength of what each guy kind of has. I think that's really helped us out. You're going to see, obviously Coy's a guy that comes in the summer. That's the wild card. Obviously you watch the high school film, you know who he is. But, Kerry does so many different things well. Gooseby does so many different things well. Coleman, he's got strengths, that you can use him in so many different, you can put him down in the box. You can play him deep. He communicates very well. Every guy has little things. Darius Green, some of the things that he brings, how physical he is at the point of attack. I thought that allows us to do more, in different situations or against different personnel groupings. I've been, Danny does such a good job with those guys in the back end, preparing them and making sure they're ready for every different situation. Whether it's in space, it's in the box, it's in coverage, it's off a rush, or it's communicating or rolling. They're always one step ahead, and we just got to continue. We keep pushing them in that direction because the toughest thing is getting some of those guys on the field all the time because they're playing really well right now.
When you look at the Illinois offense, their quarterback the last 3 seasons with Illinois has performed really well against Minnesota, completing 77% of his passes, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks. What stands out to you about Luke Allmeyer and specifically his running ability?
Yeah, he looks like he's got a really good feel for the offense. His control, the way they run it. I think he's got really good command of it. They it looks like they check a lot of things at the line of scrimmage, and he puts them in all the right spots. And then, especially like the Michigan game's the one that clicks to me is he extends plays. He moves the pocket. Sometimes it's just with his legs getting 10 or 12 or, getting a first down. And then other times it's guys coming out of coverage. And now all of a sudden he extends the play by seeing someone down the field, seeing someone come out of coverage. But his ability to run the football and throw the football and his command for the offense, that's the number one thing going into the game. He's going to, he's smart. He's going to get back there. He's going to, freeze cadence you. They're going to tempo you out, and they're going to try to find out what you're in. He's going to try to dictate the shell. He throws the RPO game really well all over the field, distributes the ball to his playmakers, and then he extends the plays. When maybe the route or the first or second target's not there, he extends the play with his feet, and that's something we have to do a great job with all day. Going back to our game against Michigan, we got to do a better job of collapsing that pocket. Last week, that's something I thought we did a better job of. Really, the last couple of weeks, we've done a better job with that.
Good mobile, efficient quarterback, couple big receivers, play about 4 different backs. How do you game plan against such a balanced offense?
Yeah, they do a lot of things personnel-wise. They do a lot of things. They'll come out and pound the ball, and they'll run old school power. They'll run the ball downhill. The duo play, or hit the ball off the shelf, and then next time they're throwing an RPO and they're throwing the bender, or they're getting the ball out in space. They have some guys that can take the top off. 13 and 4. They do some really good things, getting the ball, beating you over the top, taking some shots. They use a good amount of tight ends. There's usually 3 different tight ends they're using in the scheme. There's been some weeks, it's 1 or 2 extra offensive linemen on the field to helping them get some bigger surfaces, and they do some different things pitcher-wise that our guys have to adjust to. But no, I think they do a really good job of spreading the ball around, getting the ball to their playmakers. At times, you're going to defend them big. At other times, they're going to flex you out. And I think the quarterback makes the whole thing go. They got backs that, it's, one guy's going to come downhill and pound you. The other guy's going to, he flies. At any point, he's got big play potential. Then the wide receivers, you got to tackle them. They're good in space. They get good size. They can take the ball off the top. So we got to do a great job containing that all day. And, understanding what personnel groupings they're in and what the pitches are.
And the thing that struck me about Altmaier is how efficient he is.
Yes. Yeah, they're not off track a lot. They do a really good job with that.
Cody was in here saying that Max is coming to the linebacking room and watched film with him. Is that just those two guys, or you been in there when that's gone on?
Yeah, I think we got guys that love football. They're always in the facility. They're always trying to learn. They're always like some of the guys. I love how they're always, well, what's going on with the read here? Okay, why are they setting the protection that way? Why are they checking that? They're always trying to learn to get one step ahead. And and it's one thing I really like is like in practice you can hear the guys. I'm usually out there losing my mind, and our coaching staff does a really good job with situational football or trying to set what the pitcher is for the game. Our kids a lot of times are always one step ahead. Hey, let's get back on track here. Hey, it's a waste down right now. It's third down, and they're all talking. You can hear them formationally, situationally. We try to set different field settings for them. Whether it's backed up coming out, it's green zone, it's what the situation is. And our guys have done a really good job of understanding those aspects of the game. And in the facility, I think a lot of times you can see them. Even after practice, you'll see some of our guys. Like maybe a linebacker working something with pass rush with an O lineman, or someone trying to get why'd you do that with your eyes on that play, or what happened with that check. Just trying to get an understanding of it so they can be one step ahead. And I think they're always going back and forth trying to figure out what the next thing is going to be, or maybe why an opponent would do that to us. And I think it's pretty cool how they work off each other, trying to learn that way.
You loaned Coy Parrish for one play to the offense. Was there any terms on that?
We're still waiting for what comes back on that one. So
Who would you like?
we'll find out. We're working up a package.
Is this the type of progression you were hoping to see from Justin Wally? He has the pick six, and he's also got like 14, 15 PDUs on you. Is this the type of progression you were hoping to see from him in his final season?
Yeah, he's a guy that you put him into the boundary, you don't even have to think about the boundary. You put him on the slot, you don't have to worry about that. He competes, the way he goes about it, the way he prepares himself during the week. His understanding of the defense, being able to play multiple positions, and he has the ability. He can blitz, he can cover, he can play zone. He can play the nickel. He does so many different things well that he's just the guy we trust. In every little aspect of the game. It's funny, sometimes he's like, well, I want to blitz more. We're like, well, I want you to cover. And then sometimes it's like, hey, we're going to bring you here. We're going to do this with you. Even like some of the fits, they're off track. They run the football. He understands exactly where to be, where to fit. His football awareness and his football IQ is just very high. And, seeing him play, especially, having a couple games there, where, he wasn't active and now coming back, and the way he responded immediately in that USC game against that wide receiver group, and then continuing to build each week with the guys we see in the Big Ten. That group we saw last week, you see those guys in pregame, you're like, whoa. And, the way he played, the way he competed against them all game, it's just knowing who he is and how he goes about it. I guess I don't want to say it doesn't surprise us. But, he makes big-time plays every single week. He understands what the calls are, what the situations are, and, he's a guy that we just trust so much in those different roles.
Time for two more? Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys. Completely bored you.